you guys. It's the third Tuesday of the month, and you know what that means. It's time for Tuesday Tech Talk. I'm your host, Crystina Clauson, and today on T3, or T Cubed, that we affectionately call it here at Caterlink, we're going to be talking about AI basics for restaurant professionals. So buckle up, you guys. This is going to be a lot of information. So, as I mentioned, my name is Christina. I'm a Caterlinked coach and head of technology at Caterlinked and Off-Premise Growth Academy. Outside of our little cozy community, I'm also the CEO of Make Good Lemonade. I'm by trade a technical project manager for restaurants. I help restaurants take advantage of technology, help them onboard and integrate also technology that they currently have, just making sure that they have that they're taking advantage of that technology as much as they can. On the right hand of the screen, you'll see a bunch of technologies that I've done onboardings with or companies that I've worked with. So if you see anything that piques your interest, please feel free to reach out. As a Caterlinked coach, it is my responsibility to make sure that you guys are as successful as you possibly can be. So please, please, please feel free to use me as a guide. I'm perfectly happy nerding out with you guys on technology. So we're going to get right into it today. This is some of the terminology we'll go through. There's a lot of terminology. I didn't want to spend half of our time talking about what we're going to talk about. So you'll see most of the stuff here, but as we go through, there's going to be a lot of terms. So AI, very, very generally, is technology that enables computers and machines to simulate human learning and comprehension. There are three sort of capabilities that they're talking about with artificial intelligence right now. So ANI, which is artificial narrow intelligence, is what we're currently using. So that's AI who's designed to perform specific tasks exceptionally well. And that's according to ChatGPT. I thought that was fun to put in there. AGI is artificial general intelligence. This is currently theoretical. It's AI whose intellect matches humans. Right now, it's estimated to be 3.5 years away, or my brother thinks it's about 14 months. But either way, it's on the horizon. ASI is artificial superintelligence, and this is also theoretical, and that's AI whose intellect surpasses humans. So that's, all of those crazy science fiction movies that you watch where AI is much smarter than us. That's artificial superintelligence. AI agents are autonomous software programs that use AI to complete complex tasks. So this is taking a catering order and scheduling it. This is checking into a restaurant, that kind of thing. An AI bot is a software program powered by AI to perform simple tasks. And a bot is a software program that can perform a simple task. The difference between a bot and an AI bot is that a regular bot doesn't use AI. It's just a program that does a specific task. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. And a chatbot is a software application that uses AI to stimulate human conversation. In some situations, a chatbot can be considered an AI agent, but it's more of an AI agent than it is a bot itself, which is a weird misnomer. And hallucinations. Hallucinations are incorrect results returned by AI. It's where AI makes things up when it doesn't have enough information. We'll talk a little bit about that too. And an LLM, or a large language model, is a type of AI that understands and works with human language. That's some terminology. So again, this is basic, so we're going through very broad information. We're going to talk about the 7 branches of AI. And I'm going to give you guys some examples of the 7 branches of AI here. This doesn't make sense. Okay, got it. So the 7 branches of AI, that what I want to make sure that you guys understand is that a lot of the AI technology that we use utilizes more than one of these branches. And we're going to go through a bunch of them But what I want to make sure that you guys are aware of is, when we talk about something under a specific branch, it may be on multiple branches, but those examples are just to give you guys an idea of what we're looking at. So 7 branches of AI, computer vision. And this is a technology that assists computers in understanding and dissecting visual images and videos. That's like facial recognition and that kind of thing. Expert systems are programs that specialize in doing a specific task very well. Fuzzy logic helps figure out what is the most right answer. So AI doesn't know what's right, it knows what's popular. So it uses logic like if-then statements to help figure out what is most likely right in a yes or no answer. Language processes use machine learning and linguistics to process human language, understand meaning, intent, and sentiment. And machine learning is the ability of machines to automatically learn from data, algorithms, and feedback. Neural networks and deep learning actually mimic sort of the brain's neuron responses. And robotics is AI coupled with engineering to have actual machines do physical work. So 7 branches of AI, and we'll go through some real world uses, but also restaurant uses for each of them. So firstly, computer learning. As we mentioned, it helps with facial recognition, image classifications. There are some restaurant technology companies that use cameras to identify peak times and operational inefficiencies. So identifying what a human looks like in your like your front area of your restaurant, or how many tables you've got that are full in your restaurant, or looking at the flow of the kitchen and saying, you know what, if this station and this station were closer, or if you had one person working on this rather than this, then your kitchen would be more efficient. By the way, we're not going to go through what technical support companies for restaurants are doing this work because things change so frequently. And by the time, after I built this deck a couple of weeks ago, those companies could have changed. So if you are interested in any of these technologies, please feel free to reach out to any of us, and we can help you find something. So, expert systems, medical diagnosis systems, fraud detection, IBM's Watson. Uses in the restaurant side are payment fraud protection and tech support desks. So what these things do, expert systems, is you give them a giant database of data, and then when you input, it pulls from that database. So payment fraud protection looks at the MAC ID of whatever device somebody's using to order, for example. It looks at their credit card information to see if any fraud has been brought up or any chargebacks have been brought up against that credit card, against that MAC ID, to see if in fact this is, if there's likely fraud. Tech support desks take, instruction manuals from POS systems, and they take like tickets that they've had in the past, how they've fixed those tickets, and then when they ask questions with new people calling in, taking that information and using that to help solve those problems. People who reported this in the past most likely have this issue, and it can tell you what you need to do to fix it. Fuzzy logic, Nest thermostats. This is brake logic for their cars, and satellite altitude controls. In the restaurants, think about it like, the Nest thermostats a lot like industrial walk-ins or smokers, for that example. You're looking at, it's getting a little bit warm. If it gets a little bit warm, do people usually turn it down? Is this outside of our optimal, temperature or humidity? And then it can change to ensure that the smoker or the industrial walk-in stays at an optimal temperature and humidity to make sure that food doesn't spoil or that smoked food turns out good. Language processes. So this is chatbots, spam detection, sentiment analysis. Uses in the restaurant or chatbots on your website. Maybe taking catering inquiries, maybe scheduling catering orders to go out. Drive-through voice ordering. This specifically takes the noises that you make and turns it into, words for ordering and helps identify what item they're talking about. Also summarizing customer feedback and sentiment. Let's say you as a marketing professional send out 5,000 surveys about catering, and you, unless you're a glutton for punishment, you're probably not going to be going through all 5,000 of those handwritten responses. You're going to input all that information into a large language model, and you're going to ask, what's the general sentiment, and have it pull. Most people said that they don't like the color of our forks or something like that. So it's able to pull that information out for you. Machine learning. I'm not going to say either one of these first ones because every time I've practiced it, one of them goes off. Email automation and ChatGPT. ChatGPT also uses language processes and computer vision, I think. So, but machine learning is a big aspect of ChatGPT. So, uses on our side in the restaurants is personalizing marketing campaigns, self-service kiosk recommendations, and demand forecasting. So let's say for personal marketing campaigns, you have a sleepy customer report. So with that sleepy customer report, you basically tell your AI, here's our sleepy customer report. I want you to figure out what the most likely day and time that they would visit our restaurant is. 2 hours before they would show up, I want you to give them an offer, and you have these 3 offers to choose from. So it chooses what that customer is most likely to choose and what time they're most likely to come in. So then somebody gets an email. They usually come in on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock on Tuesday. It kicks off an email that says, "Hey, John, we really miss you. Come back to our restaurant. We'll give you a free dessert if you come on in." So if we know that that's when we're most likely to get a sale from that customer, we're sending that out, hopefully eliciting another sale from that customer, and by using machine learning. Neural networks. Examples are self-driving cars, medical imaging, online content management. So medical imaging, I think we're all aware, within the last 2 years, they showed a mammogram where AI was able to detect cancer 4 years before a doctor did. So really amazing, interesting stuff. Uses in the restaurant. Menu pricing based on cost, giving a bunch of information about that. Pizza delivery optimization. So if you've given your driver 5 places to go based on historic traffic patterns and where those locations are, it gives them the most optimal delivery route. And translating instructions or emails. So let's say that you've written your recipes or your instructions in English and your kitchen speaks Spanish. There are certain like tablet, and not all tablet, but so you have a tablet where you've entered all of that information into a specific program, then your team can just switch it to Spanish to make it easier for them to understand. Robotics. I think we're all aware of Boston Dynamics robots. Also, NASA's Perseverance uses AI. Uses in the restaurant is a pizza maker. There's I think a large membership store that uses robotics in their pizza maker. So you put a ball of dough down, makes it into a pizza shape, put sauce and cheese on it. Again, there's restaurants using that. There's restaurants using salad assembly, flipping burgers. There's lots of ways that robotics is being used in restaurants today. So, primary way that we use AI is through large language models. You talk with AI and ask it to provide an answer, a solution, a picture, something. So you're inputting requirements and they're outputting a response. These are the basic ways that when you put a response in, how AI thinks to respond. So one of them is through learning. And Sorry, my notes didn't decide to show up on these slides, so we've got to go back to our old school notes. So learning, AI learns through annotation, pattern recognition, and feedback. So a good example of this is, let's say that you're working with AI and it gives you a response that's way out of left field. And you say, no, let's go back and, let's not talk about that specific piece. Let's focus on this. So for example, I was working on a side project and ChatGPT said, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. It's like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And I said, provided feedback and said, well, I think that was an amazing movie. It was universally panned. So that may not be something that you want to provide as an example of something good in the future. Reason and decision making. That's where AI uses if-then logic and probabilistic models to derive conclusions and make decisions or inferences. So it may not have seen something like this in the past, so it's sort of logicking out to figure out what's the most reasonable response for something like that they've never seen by using things that are similar. Problem solving processes data, manipulates it, and applies it to devise solutions. So this would be trying to make information sort of applicable across things that it wouldn't normally think of, trying to make connections where they may not already exist. And the last one, which is kind of interesting, is perception. So AI uses its perception and its perception through sensors, microphones, cameras to collect information, interpret it, and kind of save it for later to help understand what's happening around it. So this is something that they would use in robotics, especially like with the Boston Dynamics, to sort of figure out what's going on around it. So what do these all have in common? They use data. Why is that important to know? Well, firstly, let's talk about where AI gets its data. It is important to note that what you're seeing here, this table, was from October of 2025. Prior to October of 2025, I think 40% of AI got its data from Reddit. And that's less now. It's still the most significant place where AI gets its information from. And if you look at this table, most of these aren't academic, sort of peer-reviewed, vetted sites. I think that the ones that are probably most like that are going to be nih.gov and archive, which is arxiv.org. That actually takes academic papers. While Wikipedia is a really good source, it's not an academically vetted source. So when I was going to college, you couldn't use that for papers at all. Now, are the vast majority of things that you're asking AI going to be academic in nature? Probably not. Would you ask this question on Reddit? I'll leave that up to you to decide if that's something that you would put on Reddit. But just this is an illustration to remind you that AI is not looking for the most right answers, the most correctness. It's looking for the most popular answers. So it is important to vet your information. Okay, and data considerations. So as mentioned in the last slide, Reddit is in the top 3 sources cited by ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Google AI Mode, which is the Google search that summarizes on the top of the page. It's also using LinkedIn, Wikipedia, Medium, and YouTube. Medium is like a blog website or where people put articles up. Again, not like academic or vetted at all. The results are, as I said, the most popular, not the most right. And consider your data sources. There is an old adage for database management, which is garbage in, garbage out. If you're using data that's not super great, don't expect to get a super great answer. It's not going to shine a diamond from the information that you give it because it's looking at what's most popular, not what's most correct. How to compensate for this. Use an LLM or an LM that you can control the databases to get cleaner, more accurate results. So this is a program that you can use to put all of your data in there and use AI just to specifically look at that data and nothing else. Provide complete data to reduce hallucinations and provide clear, complete, concise direction. Let's look at that a little bit more. So, AI does not understand your intent. It only understands the instructions. The clearer you are, the better the output. So I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of homework. You'll get 50 points if you do this homework. Essentially, when you are giving direction to AI, think about it in terms of giving an engineer direction. Engineers need their information in a very specific way. That's illustrated by MIT's Programming Peanut Butter and Jelly. It's a PDF that I've included the link on this slide. And I've also included a video where a dad and his daughter sort of illustrate it. You need to give engineers very, very specific information. And if you learn how to give engineers information, it will inform how you give your IT team direction. So, like you ask your IT team, put a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the POS for me. You send your email back, great. I put a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the point of sale. Then you find out that it wasn't pushed to any of those stores. There's no button built in the POS. It's not on Monkey. It's not on your online ordering. They did exactly what you told them to do and nothing more. So this helps inform how to talk to your IT team and talking like an engineer. How to provide good instruction. So provide data or limited places to get data. Be clear, be complete, give context. Why are you asking to do this? So if you say, here's our food cost, here's our recipes, here's our menu, here's what we're looking at for labor costs, here's what we're looking at for other costs. I want you to provide pricing for our menu while giving our team a 5% increase in pay. Provide output format. So I want this in an Excel spreadsheet. I want these to be the fields, and this is the data that I want in each of those fields. Review the output before using. So myself being kind of a technical person, I was on a board and I was sending out an email about our next board meeting. And I copied and pasted my email into ChatGPT and said, hey, I need this to be less technical. I need it to be more conversational. I need it to be light and fun. So ChatGPT returned an email. I gave it a cursory glance and looked okay, so I sent it out. For some reason, unprompted, it decided to change the date of our board meeting. So I had to do a little bit of damage control because I didn't read that part of the email before I sent it out. So the more complete the data and instructions, the less likely hallucinations are. Let's talk a little bit more about hallucinations. So I always think about AI as the goodest helper. AI wants to do a good job. If you ask it a question and the info is incomplete, AI is going to try and come up with an answer no matter how far-fetched it is, because it wants you to keep talking, and that's literally one of the directives of AI is to keep you talking to it. But also, I don't know isn't an option, because if it says I don't know, what are you going to do? You're going to go talk to somebody else. You're going to talk to a different AI. You're going to talk to Google. You're going to talk to another person. And that isn't an option, right? In order to keep you talking. So it's going to come up with an answer, no matter how far-fetched it is. And that's a hallucination. We will never probably, at least in this iteration of AI, be able to completely eradicate hallucinations. But by providing really, really concise information, you can reduce them considerably. So let's talk about bots versus AI agents. So a bot is a program that can do a simple repetitive task. You can go to this page and click login. An AI bot is a program that can do a simple repetitive task but can make simple decisions. Go to this website and click login. Well, there's no login site. There's no login button. There's a sign in button. That's probably the same thing. I'll click on that. Where if there was a login button and it changed to a sign in button, or it changed to the other side of the page, or it changed size or shape or color, that would probably break a bot. But using an AI bot instead, it won't break it. The program will just continue on making those simple decisions. And an AI agent is a program that can follow complex processes with little oversight. Let's look at what that means in the restaurant. So, a bot, you can say 86 green beans. Anywhere where it says green beans, 86 it. Go into Monkey and uncheck those 15,073 boxes. For an AI bot, here's a list of our recipe. Go through and 86 anything that has green beans in it. Whereas an AI agent, you would provide them with a detailed procedure and say what it'll do is look at the green bean inventory and it'll be like, geez, green beans are getting low. So 86 is anything with green beans when it's low and notifies the staff that they've 86'd it in an instance where they've been told to make sure that the staff is aware. If you don't tell an AI agent to notify your staff that it's 86 something, it's not going to tell your staff, because while that may have been your intent, it wasn't part of your instructions, for example. So, and then let's talk a little bit about cautions with AI. So with AI, there's something called the rule of 30. And the rule of 30 states that AI should only be doing 30% of the job. It should be providing you with some direction, some clarification, but you shouldn't rely on it to do most of your job. Your job should be mostly yours. Because of hallucinations with AI, because of other considerations with AI, make sure that you're doing the lion's share of the work. Also, AI doesn't know, it predicts. It doesn't know what's right, it knows what's the popular answer. So if a lot of people are wrong, make an assumption, then AI is going to make the same assumption. Also, be careful about behavioral changes with AI reliance. There are some studies that are coming out right now that are seeing preliminarily a decline in empathy and critical thinking skills where people are relying on AI. So make sure that you're taking AI breaks. Make sure that you're not relying on it to do a ton of your work. Make sure that that you're leading a balanced life with AI. And also the environmental impact. There is a lot of water consumption that happens with building AI data centers. And also a lot of water is used in order to cool down those data centers. So be mindful that the more AI we're using, the more water is being consumed, which is difficult, especially in some areas of the world where that may not be an easily available commodity. Really interesting thing that's happening, though, in Sweden and in Finland is that data centers are being built underground, and the heat that comes off of them is being used to heat cities. And the water that's heated from it is being used for people to take showers and that kind of thing. So much so that they're actually starting to close factories, coal factories in those countries, because they're able to heat buildings with the exhaust or the heat from those data centers, which is kind of interesting. So that concludes our video about AI and restaurants. This should be available in an upcoming course on Caterlinked as soon as we're able to get that going. But if in the meantime you have any questions about AI or just want some technical help, feel free to reach out, and I'm at makeoflemonade.com. I'm going to stop sharing the screen here. All right. So you highlighted the ethical and environmental concerns around AI adoption. How should restaurants think about those risks as they begin testing and implementing AI tools? I think it's use them sparingly. If you can Google something, Google it rather than using AI. If you can use clip art like Pexels or something, use that rather than having AI generate a photo or a video for you. Use those tools that already exist that don't necessarily use AI. I know that there are some stock image websites that use some AI, but consider, looking at the standard AI or the standard stock images before you decide to go so far as to have AI create them for you. Just think about the things that you can use that are very similar to those low-hanging fruit that you don't need to use. What else have we got? With so many systems involved like POS, loyalty, kitchen, and online ordering, where do you see the biggest opportunity for AI to streamline processes or reduce workload? So the biggest pain points that we see for restaurants are probably like food cost / food waste, and also with labor. With food cost or food waste, I would ideate with AI about your recipes. See if there's any way that maybe you can change those recipes to less expensive options. Give them access to your, like if you're ordering from US Foods, give them access to what your pricing is. Maybe help it ideate cost versus pricing for your menu items, to make sure that you're pricing your food appropriately to cover all of your costs. I think that's something that people don't take into consideration a lot unless they're doing active menu engineering, is that your food prices have to cover everything in your restaurant. The other thing is for labor, and I think a really unique thing about labor is people don't stick around, right? They don't stick around because they don't think that they're valued. Maybe, one thing that we've talked a lot about is that they don't get proper training. So if you have AI kicking off 86ing things for you in the POS, maybe kicking off marketing for sleepy customers, then they have more time freed up to train new members. Also, you can use AI to help build your training documentation, to help try and ensure that those people feel valued, they feel confident in their job, so they're willing to stick around for a little longer. Spotlight this one. How do you see AI bots or agents being used in day-to-day restaurant operations, such as inventory management, removing items from availability, or responding to customer feedback? So I see AI bots being able to, in the example that we used, 86 green beans. If you give them recipes, AI bots should be able to go through and 86 things. If you're having an emergency that we've all seen, where all of a sudden there's a salmonella outbreak and you need to 86 lettuce, you can do that very quickly. You could even save something and then just kick it off, have a button somewhere that says, we have a lettuce emergency, and just 86 it everywhere, for example. And inventory management, it gives you those numbers, and it's always a good idea to have somebody confirm those numbers. But if you give them a place to reference from, they're like, yep, that's right, that's right. If you have most of the correct items, or like the correct numbers, then people are just checking numbers against that rather than going through and counting everything. Like, yep, I see that we've got 6 gallons of mashed potatoes or something. So doing that and then allowing the bot to then order for you. And customer feedback, having chatbots on the website to respond to customers who ask, if you're getting emails and you're getting the same questions, programming a chatbot to answer those questions is going to free you guys up so you don't get so many emails every morning that you have to go through. Now, what's the best way for restaurant operators to structure AI prompts so the responses are accurate and useful? By providing complete information. So think about when you were in high school and you had to come up with a story where you had the who, where, what, how, and when. Make sure that you're covering all of your bases. So, as a finance professional, I want you to take all of this information that I provide. So I'm providing my menu, the recipes for my items, my cost for food, our cost for labor, and our cost for everything else. And this is what I want as a percentage for labor. This is what I want as a percentage for the rest of our costs. And I want you to provide me with a menu that we're increasing price by 5% because we want to give our employees a 5% increase in pay. So you're giving it context, you give it all of the data that it needs, and then you tell it how you want that information. So I want a table, I want these columns, and I want this information in each of these columns. So the more data that you can provide on the front end, the more concise the information that you get on the back end is. And last question. What is a realistic first step for restaurant brands that want to start using AI but don't have a tech team or existing data systems in place? It sort of depends on what you want to do. I think there's probably like two tracks for people that are interested in getting started with AI. Either you're looking to address pain points or you're looking to grow. If you're looking to address pain points, I would start with using ChatGPT to come up with some recommendations, making sure that you're providing data, or like Notebook LM, where you can input tables and URLs that you specifically want AI to look at when answering your questions. If you're looking for growth, I would highly recommend hiring a specialist. So that could be Off-Premise Growth Academy, where Earl, Terry, and I could help you find whatever AI that you're looking for growth. Or talking to your tech support company, because if you don't have a tech team, chances are you've got somebody who is helping you during those times where you need like an item built or something's broken and you need somebody to fix it for you. They'll often have your tech support company will often have vendors that they work with, so they know that they've got other brands that have that particular point of sale, and this is what they're using, or these are compatible systems because they've helped with the onboarding before. So I would say working with technical people, and if you're considering this a major portion of your growth, I would highly recommend hiring experts to help you with that. Don't do that on your own, because even though it seems like a lot of money, if you pick the wrong technology, it's going to cost you mountains more in the future. So definitely consider that when you're looking at that new data. But yeah, just, if you're looking for growth, working with a specialist, if you're looking to address pain points, using some sort of LM where you can input the data. So I think that's all of the questions. Yay! Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining me today to talk about AI in restaurants. And if you need anything, definitely, as I said, reach out on Caterlinked. You can email me at makeoflemonade.com. Otherwise, I hope you have a fabulous day. Oh, what's the best way for Caterlink members to get in touch with you if they need help implementing tech solutions? You can message me directly on Caterlinked. I'm there every day. You can email me, Christina at offpremisesgrowthacademy.com or Christina at makeoflemonade.com. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.